Good evening, my washers and dryers, and welcome back to the laundromat. Before we get started, I just wanna talk about my new mic stand. My husband got them for me for my birthday, and I'm very excited to use them. There we go. Okay. This is a video that I've seen other people do, and I really like the concept of finding a thing and finding another thing and comparing the two, specifically across mediums. And so I wanted to give that a try with some of the shows I've seen and some of the books I have read. Obvious disclaimer, this is limited by my viewing experience and my reading experience. You may disagree with the combinations. That's fine. For this installment, I intend to do more. I'm focusing on 5 attributes of comparison, and so each pair will exhibit one of those things, whether that is theme, tone, world building, the protagonist, or emotional atmosphere. But this is also a double-pronged recommendation video. If you have seen the show, you will like the book. If you like the book, you will like the show. And if you're familiar with neither, if the vibes check out, you should too. If the vibes check out, you should check it out too. Yeah, we'll go with that. So, let's dig in. If you like Darling in the FRANXX, you will like Iron Widow by Shiran Zhao. So this is what we call the teacher cheater question, which is where, you know, like when you take a test, sometimes teachers will put like a sample question at the beginning, and if you answer it, you still get a point, even though it's basically handed to you. And that's what this is, because this whole book was born out of Zhao's gripes with the show. Zhao wanted to explore the themes of Darling more deeply, especially the psychosexual piloting setup of the mechs. They explicitly reference the anime in the dedication, going so far as to say, to the producers of Darling in the FRANXX, thank you for inspiring the boy-girl pilot system in this book and the idea that mechas can be used as a literary device to explore adolescence, gender, and sexuality. This is a really easy comparison, but there are some other things about it that I think make them a fitting pair. So Darling in the FRANXX is a controversial anime about children who pilot giant robots for their totalitarian leader that they call Father. Hiro, the protagonist, has been suffering from performance anxiety until he meets Zero Two, this monstrous female pilot who kills every male partner she's ever piloted with. He seems to be the perfect match for her, defying the 3 rides and you die pattern that she'd established with her other partners. And together they help the other members of their squad combat the Klaxosaurs who keep attacking their biodome. Iron Widow is a little more grounded than that. It's a retelling of Chinese Empress Wu Zetian's rise to power, but with more robots this time. Wu Zetian enlists in a military conflict to avenge the death of her sister, and she gets paired with Li Shimin, the Iron Demon, who kills every female partner he's ever piloted with. And together they'll go up against a system that has abused each other, abused its power, no matter what it takes. So both series also include like feral female leads who are softened slightly by boys who understand them deeply, but Zero Two's arc is hopefully different from Wu Zetian's. I really hope Wu Zetian doesn't turn into, you know what? You'll reach that part in the anime. If you're looking for a story that will capture the psychosexual exploration of gender roles on a deeper level than Darling in the FRANXX had time for, Iron Widow is going to be the thing that satisfies that craving. Next up, if you enjoyed the 2021 smash Odd Taxi, you will enjoy The Yiddish Policeman's Union by Michael Chabon. Neo-noir stories need like 3 great things. They need like a lead we can root for, a delectable mystery, and atmosphere. And these 2 individual narratives have all 3 of those things. Odd Taxi is about a walrus taxi driver named Otakawa who finds himself tangled in a complicated web of crime revolving around the disappearance of a high school girl. The Yiddish Policeman's Union follows an alcoholic detective named Meyer Landsman as he investigates the murder of a chess prodigy named Mendel, who is the son of a powerful spiritual leader and crime boss. Many in their community believe Mendel was going to be a tzaddik hador, which is a potential messiah born once in a generation. Murder mysteries tend to either be thrillers or quirky little stories, and Odd Taxi definitely falls in the quirky story category. And while there are plenty of quirky murder mysteries like on the market, Yiddish Policeman's Union, I think, is really the only one that best matches Odd Taxi's blend of humor and crime drama. Meyer Landsman and Otakawa are the perfect everyman in their respective stories with introspective arcs of their own that they can still go on. And they're both surrounded by memorable characters. Meyer's ex-wife Bina is a delight, and Nodokawa's Dr. Gorgi he ends up serving as a perfect scene partner, and it solidifies the show's clever writing. The settings of both are really creative as well. Odd Taxi portrays this very rich and layered Tokyo, whereas Yiddish Policemen's Union crafts this alternate history for the United States by placing Jewish refugees in Sitka, Alaska. But what made me think of Chabon's novel as a companion piece to Odd Taxi is the very fact that the Coen brothers nearly directed a film adaptation of Yiddish Policemen's Union. And Odd Taxi has a very Coen brothers feel to it, like Otokawa would feel right at home in Fargo, Big Lebowski, or No Country for Old Men, and it is that tonal consistency that guarantees you will reach your destination. If you enjoyed Fullmetal Alchemist or Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, you will enjoy A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. So this one's a little tricky because it comes down to vibes. Amestris and the Four Londons have similar energies in the way that they're designed. The uniforms worn by the State Alchemist reminds me a lot of Kel's multi-sided coat in the way that they're constructed. And while Kel isn't a State Alchemist, the way he performs his blood magic is very reminiscent of the transmutation circles that the State Alchemists use. And the way that magic has a cost in Shades of Magic, especially the more sacred magic done at the end of the first book, echoes the laws of alchemy that we hear at the beginning of every single episode. I will also say that while Lila is my nemesis, her refusal to take anything lying down and her determination to fight tooth and nail for what she wants reminds me a lot of Ed, a character so angry he could punch God. The plots aren't a one-for-one, but they do both include elements of magical dueling, conspiracies, and political intrigue. But maybe the thing that clinches this comparison for me in the end is the fact that magic and truth in Shades of Magic and FMA respectively are these vague concepts that can embody a physical form to interact more directly with the characters for better or for worse. But these reasons will help guide you across the threshold. If you liked Attack on Titan, you will like The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. The big thing that Attack on Titan and The Poppy War have in common is a feral protagonist who is definitely considering some war crimes. Attack on Titan follows the remnants of humanity stuck behind these giant walls hiding from horrifying man-eating titans. Eren Yeager wants nothing more than to kill all the titans, and he will do whatever it takes to carry out that vengeance. Similarly, Vryn wants to go to the elite prestigious Synagard Academy because that is her one ticket out of her backwater village. By the time she graduates, the Nikara Empire invades, and she realizes the conflict is so much worse than she thought it would be, and she realizes it will take much more than her military prowess to win. While the main characters are definitely the focus, definitely the priority when it comes to making this comparison, they both have a visceral violence and they share an unflinching eye towards the horrors of war. And each book is a sprawling historical fantasy that is grounded firmly in the protagonist's story. I don't want to spoil too much of either, but the protagonists really draw on their own brutality, their own inner power, and the consequences of their choices have tremendous weight. But if you are looking for a character who is driven, unflinching, and as bloodthirsty as Eren, Rin is your character, and they will make you dedicate your heart. And lastly, if you enjoyed Neon Genesis Evangelion, you will enjoy Truth of the Divine by Lindsay Ellis. Now hold up, I'm gonna explain this, because this one's pretty abstract. These are very different in terms of the specifics of the plot, but when you look past the giant mechs of Neon Genesis Evangelion and the themes start to come out more clearly, both Shinji Ikari and Korra Sabino are dealing with severe emotional trauma, and their depression is what ties these two together in my mind. Wait, hold up, I still got more. Shinji and Korra are pressured into being something they are not by their ambitious, uncaring fathers. Their fathers want to see them use their connections to these eldritch beings, the Evas and the Amygdalans respectively, for the benefit of everyone else and at the expense of the protagonist's emotional well-being. The fate of the world is placed in the hands of these emotionally unstable protagonists, and hope just isn't in the government's budget. The idea of emotional dependency and unhealthy relationships are really prominent themes in both as well. Shinji's broken emotional vulnerability contrasts Korra's unhealthy dependency on ampersand. But ultimately, the reason I selected Truth of the Divine over Axiom's End, the first book, is specifically because there is a deep, aching sadness and a numbness that is woven into the pages of Truth of the Divine that cling to the last episodes of Evangelion. And you'll turn daddy issues into grabby tissues, because I did almost cry reading this book. And because of that one scene in the first Evangelion movie. And that's it! Let me know if you want more, because I'm going to do it regardless. I like this kind of video. I think unpacking a piece of work and finding its companion piece across years, across mediums, is a good exercise. It gets your brain thinking about what worked for you, what makes a story tick, and what conventions are present across mediums. It has helped me kind of home in on what stories I enjoy, and it's making it easier to jump into something new. Have you ever read something because it was like a thing you watched? Perhaps a little vice versa action. You watched a thing because it was like a thing you read. Let me know. That's gonna do it for me. Your laundry's probably done. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely evening, and I will see you all next time.